Hello, good evening, madam. I'm Nurul Sakina. I and my fellow friends will present travel blog that we did. The country we chosen is Vietnam. Okay, now I will present about the history of Vietnam. Okay, which is Vietnam is a country of contrast where loud, vibrant cities sit within touching distance of calm oceans and rising limestone carts, such as shown in the pictures. Experience city life where thousands of motorbikes makes crossing the road feel like a game of life and death. Yet, this is strangely lovable and provides a truly sense of local life. Add the sense of community with craft making families on the streets and friends bent over a steaming bowl of pho. This makes us fall in love with these urban jungles. Leave the city behind and take one of the motorbike loops that warm through rice field and coffee plantation. This is what put Vietnam on the foodie map. Eat your way through a country exploding with flavor and join one of the many excellent cooking classes. The more somber side to Vietnam is its hostile history, which is still there to see. Tributes, museums, and even architecture provide an insight into the country's war-torn past. But it is this mix of history, culture, cost, and landscapes that makes Vietnam so special and rightly leave a lasting impression that will never be forgotten. So that's all from me, madam. Thank you.
Hi, madam. A very good evening. I like to present on my topic is on the traveling block of Vietnam, and then these are the culture of Vietnam. The Vietnamese culture is one of the oldest South Asia in heavily influenced by the Chinese culture. After Vietnam, it attained independence from China in the 10th century. The country began to expand southwards, which led to incorporation of elements of the Cham and cultures into Vietnamese culture. Communists started in Vietnam and several restrictions were placed over culture exchange within the Western civilization instead of to the culture for other communist nations like Cuba, Union and other encouraged countries. And this is the culture of Vietnam. This is the example of the picture. And the Vietnamese art and literature. Literature in Vietnam greatly evolved over years from Romanticism and Realism to abstract literature in the country of folk literature, the written literature, both of which did develop almost the same time. These are the literature of arts and literature. And then followed by the Vietnamese music and dance. Vietnamese is associated with rich tradition of dance and music also exhibits variants in different parts of the country. Older are more formal in the north, while chamber culture access into influence central classic music and music in the southern part of the country is the most lively affair. The country has nearly 50 national music instruments. Followed by the next is clothing of Vietnam. This is one of the example of clothing Vietnam. The tradition clothing of Vietnamese people change significant from time to time to depend largely on whims and fancies of region rules, and common people of the country had greater freedom to choose their clothing period to the New Guinea during the rule of Nguyen dynasty. These are the sushi of Vietnamese. Vietnamese sushi is appreciated across the whole south and central region of the country. Made many types of noodles. Noodle soups are the popular here. Less use of oil, greater using vegetables. Prefer soya sauce, fish sauce, mint and basil are popular ingredients. Rice is a staple of region. This is the example of Vietnamese food. Follow of the lifestyle culture of Vietnam. The majority of Vietnamese population, 60%, live in countryside. Some people move to bigger city with the hope of larger income, with others chosen to work in the suburbs where they can live near their families' high schools. Students usually have a orientation to move to larger cities such as Hanoi's capital, and after their graduation, pursuing their best universities in Vietnam City. And lifestyle of Vietnam. This is the village side, and each region has their own way of living. People also different from others, which with the people live in the lowlands. They can get together, live a small community, also called the village, and friendly farmers who made um, who who make a living by growing rice, raise cattle, or making traditional crafts. They often go to temples or pagodas to wish their health, like for their families, as well as to participate in amazing festivals held by villagers. That's all, miss. Thank you so much.
Good evening, madam. I'm Christy Susan. Madam, I will present about a travel blog in Vietnam. Okay, madam, I'm unable to on my camera due to connection problem, madam. Sorry, madam. Okay, my part is tourist attraction in Vietnam. Okay, the Independence Palace was the first location we went. It used to be the official residence of the president of the Republic of Vietnam, but it's now primarily a tourist attraction for the historical art. Inside, we witnessed the beauty of the building, which houses some really luxurious components, and it is still used for government meetings for special events. There are also military production like tanks, um, tanks and helicopters here. Okay, Dang Nang and Hoi An. Following that, we went to Dang Han, a coastal city that is quickly developing and a popular destination for Malaysian tourists. The theme park at a high area named Banana Hills is the one of the primary tourist attraction here. To get here, we must take a cable car. We left Danghan and went to Hohan, which is known for its antique building structures. To care for the buildings here, the Vietnamese government is also attempt to take care for and restore the buildings until it's received UNSCCO certification. The drive from Danghan and Hohan takes about 30 minutes. Okay. Um, Despite the fact that we were tired, we went to a War Remnants Museum. This military museum is one of the most elitary destinations in Vietnam that you should see. There are different objects left over from the Vietnam War's military history here, such as helicopters, tanks, mortars, bombs, weapons, cannons, and so on. Last but not least, we traveled to Turtle Lake to unwind from our assaulting and worrying. It is somewhat stranger lake in the middle of Ho Chi Minh City. It became a tourist attraction not just because of its positions, but also because of its distinct design art, which is blend of east and west architectures. The fact that there is not a single turtle in this lake, despite its name is describing it. That's all for me, madam. Thank you, madam.